Hi, and welcome to this review of Doctor in Love by Richard Gordon, which I got in my recent Lifeline book haul, and it was the first one that I instantly wanted to read. So I think part of it is that it's this beautiful old penguin of a style I hadn't seen before. Um, I found myself rescuing a lot of old books this time around. Penguin 1363, Doctor in Love by Richard Gordon. Now, I knew nothing of Richard Gordon when I saw this on the sale table, but I was intrigued. Apparently, Richard Gordon was a prolific author. 50s? 57 springs to mind. I could be wrong about that. But he was originally a doctor, an anaesthetist even, which is extra doctoring required, in a big London hospital. He was also a ship surgeon apparently, and he did a few other things. At some stage he turned to writing, and this one was indeed first published in 1957. I have a memory, see? Wow. Don't know where it hides most of the time. This was a lot of fun to begin with. It's humour, but it's English humour. And it's about a doctor who's doctoring, and you get all the doctoring jokes, and you get all the doctor nurses jokes, and you get all the hospital jokes. And they're all very 50s. So, as I believe I mentioned in the book haul, they're very much the era that my mother was nursing, both in London and in Australia. And I enjoyed them. They were well written, well conceived, well put together. Around about the middle of the book, I hit a bit of a lull, but then it picked up when the doctor was no longer allowed to continue doctoring. He failed some exam and is now not allowed to continue on to be a surgeon. So he becomes a GP. Anyway, there you've got a whole different slice of English society. A small GP clinic with only 2 doctors in it, seeing a whole range of people. That was a lot of fun as well. Now, toward the end, he gets a locum who ends up being a shock horror lady doctor. Women can be doctors too. And I did enjoy that as well. So our main protagonist, whose name I've already largely forgotten, I've got to admit, first person narrator, and this beautiful female locum fall in love as they do. Her name is Nikki. I've forgotten the rest of it, and I totally failed to remember the name of the actual protagonist. And then you've got a lot of falling in love jokes, 2 people who don't know how to come together jokes, and then finally they come together. And up to then I was enjoying it a great deal, but the last part is all the dire wedding jokes you can imagine. And I'm sure if you love wedding humour and jokes, that will be really for you. Most of them feel very old and tired in 2024, but I think this is probably around the genre of how they became established as a theme, as a genre of their own. It lost me. I had to skim read to make it to the wedding, which was the end, and I can only half claim that I finished this book, but I don't know that I'm going to be coming back to it anytime soon. It's a very specific mood, and it's a mood that I had when I started it, but it certainly didn't by the end. Because I was so unenthused about the book, while I was reading it, I spent a lot of time Googling. I Googled wedding humour, rom-coms, romance, and so forth. I will say that I do think it's quite interesting that you've got a male author, Richard Gordon, writing apparently a long series about doctors in love, or doctors doing things. Many doctor books flowed from his pen or typewriter. These days it would seem to me, and I could be wrong, that an awful lot of the books with a romance element come from female authors. So it was a little bit fun to have your main protagonist male, and a male from the 50s. It was entertaining. I am not a huge fan of Hollywood comedy at the best of time. And the worst of time for me is bridesmaid, wedding, romance, rom-com humour. Those are the worst. I've seen many over the course of my life. Don't get me wrong. Mostly due to social constraints. If it comes down to pissing off the group of people I'm with, or wincing and squirming my way through a romance, then I'll do it. but I'm not going to be going out and choosing them on purpose often. So it turns out that whether you say that Hollywood was established in 1900 or in 1920, there have been hundreds and hundreds of comedies and rom-coms made on the wedding genre. Even ChatGPT did not want to enter into this discussion. I typed out the question and prevaricated 3 times before going, are you sure you want an estimate? So they're finally giving me an estimate of at least 200 movies made on this theme. I have not seen 200 movies on this theme. Bridesmaid humor makes me cringe. Wedding humor also makes me cringe. People spending 50 times their budget for a wedding that is only suitable for Hollywood farce is not my thing. So the end of this book fell very flat for me. If you love wedding humor and also enjoy 50s writing, then this may be the book for you. If nothing else, it could serve as a nice little palate cleanser. It did for me. I've been reading mostly classic SF recently. It could come as a nice little palate cleanser, a little bit different. It's a glimpse into a world that is nearly as alien and foreign to us as would be Jane Austen's Regency England, because the 50s in so many tiny ways are incompatible with the society, the people, the modes of behavior and the beliefs of 2025. Though a few things carry through, including people spending too much. And yeah, so gorgeous little book. Happy to own it. Glad I mostly read it. Will go away and give it some treatment. It needs a little bit of gluing and cleaning. Thanks for watching. Do I recommend that book? Maybe, but quite possibly not. And next I need to go on to a nice, familiar, cozy blanket of SF. I haven't chosen it yet. And before you see that review, I expect to post a huge review of all the science fiction that I actually bought at Lifeline Book Fest. Have a great day. Read good books. Probably not that one, but if that one rocks your boat, read that one too.